We're making waves and keeping it real. It's Real Talk Rhody with Bekah Berger.
Hey, it's Bekah Berger, episode 3 of Real Talk Rhody. No guest, it's just me. It's me and you. Solo mission. There's just a lot of moving parts right now happening with Real Housewives of Rhode Island. If you are listening, great, because I could look like a supermodel, hot, and you would never know. However, if you are watching the visual, you know I just kind of woke up and said, hey, this'll do. Typically, I like to, when I record a podcast and I know I'm going to be on camera, filming content, I do like to put in a little bit more effort, but today I just wanted to get down into the nitty gritty of it. Let's first begin with the fact that, okay, we're in the middle of filming. I know that the timelines, the goalposts have changed several times during the timeline of Real Housewives of Rhode Island. I know that some of us thought they were filming back November, December, and maybe they were. They were obviously doing screen tests with the ladies to see how they looked with the confessionals and see how they did on camera. There was a couple scenes maybe filmed, but other than that, everyone is telling me that Bravo did something pretty unusual, which was just kind of give it the green light without a whole lot to go off of, which is a great thing for the women of Real Housewives of Rhode Island. That means they're really bringing it. They impressed execs enough to announce Real Housewives of Rhode Island. So in terms of timeline, yes, couple scenes here and there shot in 2024, but now we're really ramping up. So the month of June's a big critical time in the time period in the timeline. What I'm guessing, and there's a lot of outlets that have reported, local outlets, what's going on in Rhode Island, Real Housewives of Rhode Island chasers, saying that filming started a few weeks ago. And by filming, I think that they mean more like drone shots, getting the color of Rhode Island, solo filming. This is where we sort of meet the women at the very beginning of not just a season, but of a new series. You get to see them in their homes, you meet their families, you get to see what they're all about. So that kind of filming is happening right now. I've always wanted to talk to camera crew of these people. I mean, I loved the scene in Next Gen NYC a few weeks ago. That's one of Bravo's new shows where we follow not only Gen Z of New York, but the children of some of the Real Housewives. And Teresa's like waving at one of the camera people in a scene with her daughter, Gia. We get up in the morning. And so obviously a lot of the shows, they share a lot of the same crew. So I'm wondering if any of that crew that they've used in some of the other cities, I'm guessing, because it's the same production company, is filming here. But I know that they're under very strict NDAs, but the things that they have seen, the things that don't even make it to air that they have filmed, they need to write a book, do a podcast. I would consume it all, mention it all. I'm not going to do the Bethany with my legs up in the air split. Nobody wants to see that. This is an Old Navy jumpsuit, I think from a year or two ago. So if I tried to put my legs up in the air split wise, this thing would completely fall apart. So yes, filming is happening. I saw that too. And just a reminder to everyone, I am not using names just yet for the alleged cast. I want Bravo to give us the names. It's getting harder and harder because obviously a lot of the women who we think and know who are cast are filming or allegedly filming together. I saw 2 of them. At least this is, and by saw, I mean, I'm not there physically, but just from Instagram, from stories, it looks like 2 out of the possible cast were filming together or just hanging out together on Block Island. We know, and again, this is a little bit of a repeat, but we know some of the country clubs and the beach clubs that have said no. However, someone told me that Coast Guard House said yes, and that Cersei Prime, again, all alleged. That's my new favorite word. That's my favorite A word, alleged. That is some of the filming locations we have heard about. There's a lot I really want to get into. I'm going to shift right now to something I heard about Dolores Catania. She is not a full-time cast member, not a friend of, going to be doing a guest spot or 2. I've now heard that from a few different people. So yeah, we will see Dolores. I mean, she went out Catania went out and is renting a home in Narragansett, allegedly. And you don't just rent a home to rent a home in Narragansett unless you plan on staying here. Now, could that be a week? Could it be 8 weeks? And that's the other thing. Filming is apparently going right through September. And you forget sometimes how long this filming process lasts. I'm interested to see once the filming wraps up, once we get the cast, once we're allowed to talk to the cast, whether they were relieved when filming was over or they wanted to get a little bit more in. But that's a lot. That is such a time commitment. You start at the middle of June, and you go your entire summer. You're right through September. Think of all the things that happen in just a short amount of time in your life personally, and it's not filmed. Think about all of those things being filmed. Okay, we covered Dolores. I wanted to get to that. I obviously have a note in my phone about everything. This was sort of breaking this morning. Shout out to a content creator named Angel who posted this. I saw this. This was the Kim D podcast. Kim D had Jen Fessler on her pod, and Kim D is alleging that Melissa Gorga called Bravo and said, Dolores, ? Rhode Island. And here's what Kim D had to say.
To call Bravo.
No, I did not know that. Damn, girl. What does that even mean?
Melissa called Bravo. She called execs there, and she said, wouldn't you want someone who's younger and looks more like them?
Get the hell out of here.
For a fact.
Kim, for a fact?
I don't talk.
Oh, Jen was kind of saying, oh, we all get jealous, which like I could totally see. Any group of women feel some type of way about each other, right? Isn't that how we're conditioned as people, not just as women? But Melissa said, why don't you get somebody that looks more like the cast? So obviously Melissa is seeing who is cast and saying, I want in on that. And if you're going to ask Teresa about it, I'm sure Teresa would. Even though it's hard to agree with Kim D, I'm sure if you're Teresa, although I don't even know what terms they're on these days. What did Porsche Fashion Show stand for? Something about Coke every day. You can't make it up. But I'm sure Teresa would definitely agree with Kim or definitely back up Kim D's claims that Melissa might have been a little bit jealous about Dolores heading to Rhode Island. Everybody wants a piece of Rhode Island. It's kind of wild. I guess if you're from Jersey and you're feeling the heat a little bit and you're feeling like, ooh, is that our replacement? You want a piece of the pizza pie, the bakery pizza that we are serving up in Rhode Island. So that was a little tidbit from Kim D, and that was on her podcast this week. I really enjoyed the interview Beyond the Velvet Rope. I really enjoyed the interview he did with Matt and Alexa Frazier. I don't know if they signed any paperwork because Matt was out there with the Howie Mandel podcast and just kind of like, hey, they wanted us. They were recruiting us. They scouted us. They wanted us for this show. They wanted us so bad, and they had some really great insights as to how casting works and how for months and months they were hounding them to get them on, again, alleged on Real Housewives of Rhode Island. Then they sought counsel once again from a former Jersey cast member from Caroline Manzo. And Caroline said, don't do it. You're a great family. This could wreck your family. Meanwhile, Caroline went on Girls Trip in the last few years, the show that never made it. And we're never going to see it because of what happened with her and Brandy Glanville. But it's funny. God knows I would never call Caroline Manzo a hypocrite. I don't even want to say anything bad about Caroline Manzo. But she's over here telling people, don't do the show. She just filmed a reality show in that very universe a few years ago, but clearly did not have the greatest experience. Now, again, I've talked about this before, and Alexa alluded to this. They were looking for someone to balance the cast. That seems to be a big theme in these early days of casting. And then this name, again, I'm trying not to use names here, but this name emerges of someone who has spent a great deal of time in Rhode Island. She's not a native Rhode Islander. She's lived a couple different places. She looks Rhode Island-esque. She's got a maiden name that could easily be very Rhode Island, fits into the whole Italian theme. She's from another reality show franchise, completely different network. And she and her husband, who are great people, good big fans. We're big fans of them here at this radio station and in this radio group. And I texted the husband, who is I keep saying the husband again, like echoes of Meredith from Salt Lake, but I was just trying to, like, I didn't want to be super nosy. I'm trying to be like really clean with how I'm handling a lot of the coverage, as I've talked about, but basically said, hey, what's going on? What's with these rumors about you guys joining the cast? And everything is still up in the air. So I'm interested to see how that shakes out, mostly because, and if this person, alleged cast member, was sitting right here, they would probably agree. Yeah, they don't know these women. So it would be interesting to see how that fits in. But it goes back to the whole balance of the cast. I heard from somebody in my DMs late last year. They were scouting his family to, once again, balance the cast. So it remains to be seen if Bravo and production found somebody to, quote, balance the cast. So that's where we're at. I just wanted to get some of this stuff out. A lot of it's just been sort of marinating in my brain, and I wanted to make sure that I caught everybody up on what I know so far. And if you know something that I don't know, I would love to hear from you. You can slide into my DMs. The DMs are open. So thank you again, as always, for supporting me, for supporting Real Talk Rhody, and I will talk to you. We've got some really great guests planned for the next few weeks to get us through summer. But as I've said, if you have any tea to spill, if you see or hear anything about filming locations or anything like that, please feel free. Do not hesitate to contact me. Thanks for listening to Real Talk Rhody with Bekah Berger.